Thank you very much. You hear the great experts here talking about the potential possibilities and how we are today at risk of what's going to happen in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I have news for you. We are already experiencing the risk. We are already in that future. Okay? Look, we are experiencing extraordinary time. The housing market is collapsing. The stock market is collapsing. The US economy is collapsing. And in the next 2 weeks, we'll go to make an election, one of the most important elections in a generation. So why are we here gathered to talk about oil? Oil is old news, no? It's now $70 a barrel or less. Well, I have some news for you. Oil is not old news. By the time the dust settles on 2008, it will become crystal clear that one of the main reasons we are where we are today is our oil addiction. We heard from Bad that this year we lost about $500 billion on oil import. $500 billion. What can you buy for $500 billion? Well, you can buy another defense budget. You can buy GM 150 times. You can buy every single house that went into foreclosure this year. You can pay every delinquent mortgage for the next 10 years. That's how much money we've spent on oil this year. But you may say, listen, our economy is gigantic. It's like $12, $13 trillion. What difference does it make how much we expend on oil? What's the difference, for example, between what we expend on oil and our defense budget, the war in Iraq, our healthcare system? Well, there is a marked difference. When we spend money on our healthcare, or on defense, or even on the war in Iraq, this money remains in the system. You can look at the war in Iraq as a big wealth distribution system. The rich taxpayers pay for the soldiers in the field and for the workers building bombs. Yes, of course, there is huge amount of waste and there are direct expenses overseas. But by and large, most of the budget goes to pay for people that are living and working here in the United States. The same goes for the healthcare system. We, the consumer of the healthcare system, support the people that work in the healthcare system and the companies that supply it. That is not true for our oil addiction. The $500 billion we lost this year are gone. Now, in the past, we used to sponsor our addiction, this bleeding. We used to sponsor that from growth, right? We used to grow the economy. The economy used to grow 2%, 3%, 4%. Now the $500 billion this year is almost twice as much as the growth in GDP. Okay? So here's the news. As long as we spend on money, on oil more than we can make in growth, we are running a deficit. It's not a government deficit. It's an economical deficit of the entire economy. And when the economy goes into deficit, the first thing that goes out the door is prosperity. Okay, so we are now looking potentially into years of no growth in prosperity. And that's without the attack on the terminals. This is today. Needless to say that if the economic budget is in deficit, we will not have lots of spare resources to devote to other critical issues we have, like social security, like healthcare, and like global warming. So our addiction to oil is seriously crippling our economy. It's not a surprise that the housing market with the collapse of the housing market coincided with record oil prices. Almost 20 years ago, a little-known economist named Osama bin Laden predicted that a $140 barrel will cause the market economy to collapse. You know what? He was right. But that's not all. We are witnessing one of the largest, if not the largest, wealth transfer in history. When our money leaves our economy, it doesn't just go poof. It goes to line the pockets of people that make oil. Right? So what happens with this money? Yes, you spend some of it on your pet projects like building palm islands in the middle of the Gulf, the Persian Gulf. Have you guys seen that, what Dubai is doing? Amazing construction. You spend some of it, a few billions here and there, to sponsor your pet terrorist organization, whether it's in Nicaragua or Colombia or Hezbollah or Hamas. But that still doesn't count for the vast, vast majority of money you have left. So what do you do with this money? Well, you hire some really smart, talented people to invest the money for you. I know you can move this a little closer. Thanks. You hire really smart people to invest the money for you. But what does investment really mean? What does it mean to invest? You buy assets. That's what investment is. And where do you find a market large enough to buy trillions of dollars worth of assets? Because this is the sums of money we are talking about. Yes, this is the market. It's the United States. And guess what? These assets are now on sale. Our stock market is now traded at great discounts. And it is not, it's not a coincidence. Okay, and I'm afraid that this is a sign of what's to come. As long as our oil liability is on our books, the price of oil will continue to go up. And the price of oil that goes up, our economy will stutter. And our economy will stutter, the price of our assets will go down. And you know the interesting thing? Our companies will invite those guys over to make investments. We will open the wallet for them. We will open the door for them. And then soon after, they will just take over those assets.